why has to be really, really strong in whatever you wanted to do in your life. So my why was really strong. And the other thing was your what has to be really clear, like what you want. So these two things kind of drive you where you want it to be in your life. So when I separated from my corporate job at that time, I was supporting multiple charities or nonprofit organizations as geared towards women and children. So I love to do this nonprofit work because I just felt like life has given me so much. It's my time to give back, to connect with people at a different level. So even if I can make this much change in one person's life, my job is done.
Welcome to the Real Estate Mogul MD podcast. Thanks for tuning in and taking control of your financial future. This is a show where we not only motivate and inspire, we give you actionable real-world experience to help you live life by design. You'll hear journeys and stories from other physicians, investors, coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs. And now, here's your host, Brett Riggins.
So she says, fail fast, take more risks, invest sooner. These leaps of faith where it's just, instead of a challenge, it's an opportunity. And all of this is coming from our conversation today with a visionary entrepreneur, a real estate investor, and strategic leader with extensive background in commercial real estate, information technology, and academia. Just a true teacher at heart, now sharing her path, her journey, and her experience going from the corporate world into real estate, and now sharing how you can get there too. Wow, what a story here today. What a lovely conversation. And I want you to grab onto one of the analogies that she has about abundance mindset. And there's something about having a handful of sand. See if you can pick that one out here today. Everybody, please welcome to the show, Vinki Loomba. Well, the time has come. I'm excited about this conversation today, and we both have no idea where it's going to go. Vinki, welcome to the show. How does it feel to be Vinki today?
Well, wonderful. And thank you for having me on your show.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Coming to us from the West Coast today. How's the weather out there?
It's nice weather. It's sunny, but a little bit chilly in the morning.
Yeah. What's chilly for Southern? You're Southern California, right? What's chilly?
I'm in the northern. I'm in San Francisco area.
Oh, the Bay. That's right.
Yeah. So if it goes to 60, it's chilly.
That's
for me.
the same way. I feel it too. All the northern people are like, come on. No, I grew up in Michigan, and I spent the first 40 some years of my life there, and I just don't like the cold. So I'm in the Carolinas now, and it gets like to 50, and I'm done. Like, I don't want it to get any colder than that. And, it's just, I'm good. At 50, it's still a little too cold for me. So I'm right there with you. But we are here to talk about real estate. I'm excited to jump into this conversation with you and relate your journey to the journey that a lot of our listeners are going to have, because a lot of our listeners are medical professionals, physicians, which you have a close relation to. You're not a physician yourself, but tell us, Vinki, a little bit about your professional career up to this point.
So you already said my name is Vinki Loomba, and I'm a founder and CEO of a Loomba Investment Group. That's my investment company. My journey in real estate started alongside my long career in IT and academia, actually. Originally, I'm from India, so I don't want it to go way back. I wanted to start from here, that I am immigrant over here. I came here a long time back, about 30 years back. And I landed into the IT field because my husband was an IT professional. So he asked me to join the clan. I'm like, okay, fine. But my original plan was to become a professor. And because I had master's from India, actually I had MPhil, that's a shorter form of PhD. And but I joined the clan, I got into the IT and started climbing the corporate ladder. And during that time, by default, we became the landlords because we bought our second home or built our second home. We rented the first one and we learned about the passive income. So then we started multiplying that. And I also got my California realtor license because I thought that could be my weekend job. I can make some money there on the side. But I never wanted to sell homes, or I didn't enjoy selling homes. So I got into the retail side of it, like businesses. And my husband and myself, we started investing in the retail as well then. So that was a good journey. But at the same time, I got an opportunity to complete my executive MBA, and I got a chance to teach. So guess what? My dream of becoming a professor got completed there. So I was our adjunct professor for 10, 12 years at California State University, teaching the MBA program, which I enjoyed that. But fast forward, when I separated from my corporate job a few years back, about 8 years back, I landed back into real estate with a different focus, different purpose. So now I do the multifamily syndications. And syndication is just like we just bring the other investors alongside us to invest in the properties. And then we just kind of do the profit split. That's the kind of the game of the syndication. And I really enjoy this space because I get to educate people to how to create that financial freedom for themselves. I hope I answered your question.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So much there. Very interesting. So a teacher at heart, and now circling all the way back and helping others not only learn, but learn something that's not really taught in school, that financial freedom based on passive income, just basically just kind of leaving the ball and chain of the world of trading time for money. I really like that. When you kind of transferred into the commercial world in the retail space, what was it that was attractive to you at first? So in my mind, when you say retail, I'm thinking just commercial, maybe like strip mall kind of sections where we've got potentially triple net leases, those kind of scenarios. So you started listing those. What was it that attracted you to those types of investments?
I was young, so I'm talking about 20 years back. So mindset was totally different. That was just like the commission. I think that was was the thing over there, because the commission was a lot more than the residential sale. It was, I think, 6 versus 10%. And then I thought it's going to be much easier for me to connect with people, because coming from the corporate background and having some knowledge, the business knowledge or the business acumen, is going to be easy to connect with the people at the different level. Versus I thought, selling homes could be a little bit different ball game. So I was very business oriented or business minded. I think that's what my, I would say, attraction was right there. And that took me there and did pretty well over there for a few years.
And that transition into that commercial space as an investor, then, because you were listing them, but you said you also, your husband and yourself invested in them too, correct? What did that look like? Was it syndications? Were you, did you start an LLC and start doing this yourself, or what does that look like to start up with?
It was more like a joint venture, not necessarily syndication. We did not know the term syndication at the time.
Right.
At that time, it was like a joint venture, or somebody needed a money, and then you just like helping them to get into the business, and you're getting the returns on that. So it's just like, you can say, the private lending kind of business.
Yeah. So in that particular scenario, you, in the world of the agent, you were making relationships with operators, and that's who you provided the money to the operator and partnered with them directly on those potential properties that you may have even been the agent on as well.
That's true. No, I was not agent on those properties. It was just like most friends and families or our own things that we buy. Like, for example, the gas station or the liquor store. It was like our own money, our own business, and maybe friends and family, but no agent thing in there. So agent thing was separate, that just selling businesses to people. So didn't want it to convert things and mix things to make it even,
Yeah.
I don't like to mix things. I like to keep things separate.
Yep. Says the one who invested with family. That could be a challenge in and of itself too, right?
It is.
Yeah. Mixing business with family. It's like mixing water and acid sometimes. You got to do it in the right order, right? I don't know if that's a good analogy or not, but so we're into this retail side, and then we move into like what you're doing now is on the syndication side. And I know that you're doing multifamily. I think you get into some storage space as well too. But before we get there, tell us a little bit about what drove you to make really that change in your life to going from something. I mean, that was your dream job, right? Teaching and, working with your husband in IT. I don't know if he's in the room, if he's going to listen, whether that was your dream job or not. I don't know. But tell us a little bit about what pulled you from there, the story about what you felt inside to make that change into now full-time real estate.
So that's a really good question. And I did ask this question to myself that why I wanted to do that. And I'm going to say something over here that your why has to be really, really strong in whatever you wanted to do in your life. So my why was really strong. And the other thing was your what has to be really clear, like what you want. So these two things kind of drive you where you want it to be in your life. So when I separated from my corporate job at that time, I was supporting multiple charities or nonprofit organizations that's geared towards women and children. So I love to do this nonprofit work because I just felt like life has given me so much. It's my time to give back, to connect with people at a different level. So even if I can make this much change in one person's life, my job is done. So I've been doing that. And when I separated from my company, all of a sudden I realized first that I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to call myself retired because I took the early retirement. But then I was thinking, how do I fund my projects? So that was the driving factor right there. Like I said, my why was strong. And that's what made me explore. What should I do? How should I make money? How should I invest enough money that I have enough cash flow to support my nonprofit efforts that I'm doing? So then I learned about syndication. So when I learned about syndication, and it's like, oh my God, I can just pool the money with others and get this solid returns back. There could not be anything better than this. And initially I started as a passive investor. I'm sorry, I'm going to say that again. So initially I started as a passive investor because I had the bandwidth. And I wanted to learn the process. I'm kind of a person who is kind of hands-on. So I like to learn by doing it myself, not just by reading a book. So when I was investing passively with other operators, I very quickly got a chance to GP is a general partner, to become a partner with other operators and run the deals together side by side with them. And that was a really good learning process for me. And I love to share that knowledge with my, I would say, network, the other investors that I work with, because I'm still feel like I am educating day in, day out, because I'm sharing the knowledge with people, the knowledge we do not learn in school or college, because we just go through the books and all of a sudden when we go out in the real world, there's a total disconnect. And that's the reason when I was teaching, I used to bring the doormat projects from the other companies through my friends' companies live into the classroom so people can, or the students can just solve the problems and get to work the real projects. And it was kind of a win-win scenario, both for the company as well as for the students, because they get to learn the projects, live projects, even their doormat, and they get to learn how to figure out the answers or figure out the solutions for a problem. And at the same time, company has multiple solutions. Even they don't want it to apply right away, but they can keep it in their repository that they can come back to it later on and they can use it.
Yeah, that's awesome. When you say your why has to be big enough, and I always think of it like it is this magnet that you see out in front of you, and it's going to pull you through these moments, because it's not going to be easy. It's not all, I say this so many times, it's not all sunshine and rainbows that you may see on social media, and it's life in general is like that. But when that why is that magnet that's pulling you through this, it's also shaping you along the way, and who you're becoming on your way to that goal is really, really important. But I think you having been set firmly in such a a wonderful value of giving back. I think that even before this goal is pulling you through there, it says something about you. And I think that that's great and amazing. And it kind of like in the first conversations that we had, Vinki, before doing the podcast and all this stuff, but we talked about abundance in that perspective of there's so much out there. We've been blessed with so much, and the ability then to not be, stricken on maybe I'm going to lose something if I give it away to somebody else. But the reality of that path, that being your why, pulling you through all this and now creating these opportunities for other people along the way is created more opportunity for you, right?
So true.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
It's
you said it
amazing.
very well, because that's how it rolls, because whatever you want in your life, the more you're going to give out, the more you're going to get back. So the more you're going to hold on to something, it's going to slip away anyways. I'm going to give you the analogy of the sand, right? If you have a sand on your hand, and if you keep your hand straight and open, it's going to stay there for a long time. If you try to squeeze your hand and make a fist, the tight the fist is going to be, the sooner the sand is going to go out.
Yeah. I love that. In my mind, you said you are hands-on. I'm very visual. So in my mind, I'm like, I guess my hand's squeezing while you're saying that. But in my mind, I'm I'm seeing that when I open my hand, there's nothing in it.
Exactly.
Right. So by holding on to something so tight and being a shortage mindset, when you open your hand, you realize there's nothing there. Mm-hmm. It's remarkable. It's amazing. And now on this path of philanthropy, whether you call it that or not, that's your why, pulling through, giving that back. Now you've got this work-life balance where you're doing things that you love, you're giving back and sharing with your family along the way. Before we get into talk about this way that the listeners can connect with you on the Loomba Investment Group itself, your current projects, I wanted to bounce back just a little bit. Something I have no idea what it's like. But I'm sure a lot of the listeners, as physicians, as immigrants, as physicians coming here and getting into the real estate world, tell me a little bit about what that's like for you as an immigrant coming here and kind of getting into the real estate world. What was the biggest challenge from you? You said, I believe that you came here from India 30 years ago. What was the biggest challenge that was an obstacle for you when you first started in real estate as an immigrant?
Well, that's, again, a really good question. And then I'm going to say life is full of challenges in itself, right? Life is a challenge because the way we process our thoughts, or the number of thoughts that we deal with, because we think we just a thought, right? And we just following that or chasing that all our life. And then we just see this challenge or that challenge. But if you look at it, that's what I'm talking from my experience. I have learned over the years that every challenge is actually an opportunity. It's just like your perspective, It's like shifting your perspective. All of a sudden, you're going to see all the opportunities around you versus looking things as a challenge or a roadblock. So the first challenge I took in my life, you can say as a challenge, leaving my country, leaving all my friends, leaving my family, coming to United States at the age 21, not knowing where I'm going, what I'm trying to do, no vision, no nothing. So that was the biggest leap of faith, you can call it. You can call it a challenge, but for me, it was an opportunity. I was thinking about it. Oh my God, it's a big opportunity. I'm going to go to United States. And I'm going to become a professor, a top-notch professor, because I have an MPhil from India. I was studying for PhD, and I came here in UC Berkeley. I got enrolled as a PhD candidate under a very renowned professor. But guess what? Like life throws challenges at you. Again, those are opportunities. So there was something really sweet in store for me. I became mom. So we started our family, right? So there goes my PhD. My husband says, oh, it's going to take 5 more years. Why don't you try the business side of it for a little bit if you want it to work? So that's how I started my first job in the corporate world. Then I started climbing the corporate ladder from there. And I just felt like our life was giving me opportunities one after another. So, like I said, it's just your perspective, the way you look at things. If you think these are all opportunities, you're going to keep on climbing the ladder. And if you think these are the challenges, you just might stop or just might fall over and over again. So, and then, after 20 years of my service, I separated from my company because my position was eliminated. And that was again, all of a sudden, right? A challenge. Oh my God, you don't have a job from tomorrow, or your position is eliminated. Now what? And I'm like, I took that as an opportunity too. I'm like, there might be something better for me. So I became an entrepreneur. Super happy
with the
about
experience.
that whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I love how when you say you separated from your business, your job, you separated. And I'm so accustomed to only hearing that when somebody's talking about a lifelong relationship, like with a partner, like I've separated from my husband, I've separated from my wife, and you use it in a way of like you've separated, like you had set like you were going to be with that business forever. And then the way you use that word is very interesting. You say separated. It makes me think this perspective, and this is the way I see. I guess I try to make sure I'm always seeing the glass half full as opposed to half empty, that kind of thing. But I literally have it on my board. Perspective is the obstacle. The obstacle is the way. There's a book by Ryan Holiday called The Obstacle is the Way. Have you read that?
Yes, I'm familiar with that book.
Yes. So that's that idea of, man, that perspective is so important, and how we see things is so important. And so many times when we're hung up on this thing that just you think is a wall could literally be a hurdle on your way to something bigger. So it's all about the way that we see things and our response as opposed to our reaction, being able to, have this optimism and this perspective of abundance. I mean, it's just so beautiful. So many of those things are so beautiful, but it's not easy. The idea is simple, but it's not easy to make sure that you're doing this day in, day out. Starting with every thought that you have, coming back to that, hey, this is creating this emotion, and then turning those into action. And sometimes our bodies it happens faster than we can even imagine. So we have to self-reflect and make sure, okay, how could I have done this differently? What was my perspective here? Was I seeing this as a problem? And really just give situations, treat them as autopsies when we have the ability to, so we can self-reflect and always get better, reaching for this point of giving back, because there is so much. In my hand, if I close my hand, there's not going to be any sand in it. So on this path that we've done this, Vinki, now you've got this investment group. And then you started to be an entrepreneur, and this is your marriage now, right? Business marriage, right? You're not going to separate from this company.
Yeah, I was with my company for 20 years, like you asked why I say separated. And then I'm so happy that they eliminated my position.
Yep.
Hadn't they have done that, I would have been still there.
Yep.
You know how it is? We look for a comfort zone, and we never challenge the status quo, because my vision was just like going up and up and climbing the corporate ladder, just going up in that company. I never thought of myself outside of that company. So that's why I use the word when I separated, because there's a clear separation now. I have nothing to do with that company or the corporate world. I'm an entrepreneur that I created my own identity. And I did that by learning about myself, who I am. See, that's the reason I use the word separation.
I can hear that. And you said that, that was your vision, to just keep climbing the ladder. For me, I'm not even hearing like you would ever have imagined separating from them. So that's a perfect word that explains more to the situation as well. This shot at the entrepreneur world. Sorry, I keep clearing my throat here. Just getting over a cold. I don't know what it is. I live somewhere where it really doesn't get colder than 50 degrees, and I get a cold. I don't know what it is. I don't know. But we've got this perspective piece is huge. And now you've got this Loomba Invest group. And tell us a little bit about that, and where are you going with that?
So, Loomba Investment Group is an investment firm, and actually, I do have a fund as well. It's called Loomba Capital Partners Fund, and you can call it is one of my proudest achievement in life because really enjoy what I'm doing because it has allowed me not only to build a strong investment platform for myself, but also I'm bringing others along side on this journey of called financial freedom. I have seen firsthand how essential is it to be financially free so that you create that space in your mind to get more creative. And I understand the power of relationships that you're building and growing your network. So you're just positioning yourself as a resource. So by becoming an entrepreneur or creating that space for myself through Loomba Investment Group or through Loomba Capital Partners, I have created this space where I could be very, very resourceful and I could connect with others. And that this relationship more like, trust relationship and long-term relationship that I'm creating with people because who are investing with me alongside me, we're kind of marrying, right? For 3 to 5 years if they're in one deal. And if they want it to stick longer, it's gonna be kind of long time relationship we are creating with people. So which is like really, really close to my heart. I feel happy because you can call it as my way of giving back, like to the people who are looking for financial freedom or need a little bit hand holding there, to take them to that finish line wherever they wanted to go. So sharing my experience with them. And also it helps me. I don't take any money from anybody because my nonprofit is a privately held. But when people invest with us from our own profit share, we take percent of that and we try to make a difference in women and children's life, majorly all the projects we do it in India. But we try to do that. Let's say, for example, even if I can do an eye surgery on one person, I'm just giving somebody a hope there. So that is like really close to my heart, and that gives me like true happiness in life.
And if if that position never would have been removed, then I don't know. I mean, if it was meant to be, you would have found your way to here at some point. So maybe just the removal of that job, separation from that company, was just that catapult, that inflection point for you to get to this point of happiness and joy and work-life balance, which I think goes away. You don't even realize it unless there are things outside, because when you're around or doing something that you're extremely passionate about, there is no question of balance. Like it's just all there. Very interesting. And when you talk about that job separating, if it never would have happened, what would it be like now? But it made me think of, there was a position when I first came out of finished school for construction management engineering, architectural engineering, kind of like a conglomerate. I got enough credits kind of thing. But I was in the world of construction all the time. And I had applied for this big development firm, and it was local to where I was at, through thousands and thousands of applicants and multiple interviews. And I was down to the 3 people. I had no experience in commercial management. So it was tough when they told me that I didn't get the job. And the biggest thing was they couldn't hand me projects and I could hit the ground running because I had absolutely no real life commercial development training. So it was tough. But now looking back, Vinki, I always say that was the best job that I never got, because my life has catapulted in this path, having this conversation with you, sharing this information with so many other people listening to it. It's just, what a blessing. And if that was considered a challenge at the time, I mean, sometimes it's easier to see that there was actually an opportunity in hindsight, It's crazy. It's awesome. I was just looking at your portfolio here on it's loombainvest.com. And I want the listeners to go there, loombainvest.com. They can find more about you and your portfolio, but you got some beautiful properties in here, ranging from Class C all the way up to Class A. The multifamilies, you got looks like a new build in Q3 2023. a storage facility, just some really beautiful properties. They can go on there, take a look at that. They can connect with you, so that way you are currently raising for one of the funds, correct?
Yes.
Beautiful. Awesome. So go on there, find more, connect with you. I do have one question though. If you could go back through the time that you've had, even in the last 30 years being here in the States, if you could go back with the knowledge and the experience that you have now, and set beside maybe that physician that's listening right now, that's just either matched or planning to go to residency, they've come here, maybe whatever they've done, they've come here, and maybe in a similar situation as you, and remember how you felt at those moments. What's something that you could tell that person listening right now?
Well, if I have to go back in time, I ask this question on my podcast too all the time, if we have to kind of rewrite our story, how would we do it? Because everybody thinks, I should go back and rewrite my story. I could have done that, should have done that, could have, should have, that's what the whole life is all about. But if I go back and change something, I wouldn't have been here today. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, don't change the life. Sorry, I jumped you on that one.
That's true. I'm coming to that. I was just trying to tell you about myself, That's the question that I asked. That's okay. No worries. But if I have to go tell myself or anybody else 30 years back, I would say, do it. Take more chances. Take more risk. There's no failures in life. Don't be fearful. Don't be scared of failing. Because the thing is, failures are actually the stepping stones for us to figuring out life, to get better. And even if you fall, it's okay. Bounce back up quickly. And that's what I would do. If I have to do it all over again, I have to start, I will say, take more risk, and then just live fully. Don't have the limitations, or don't stop yourself. If I tell myself, I would say, invest more. I could have started investing when I was 20 years old, but I didn't even know. So do all those things that you can even imagine. Just try those things, because what I've learned from my experience in this life, nobody fails. Everybody passes by the end of the life, Could be like 60-year-old, 70-year-old, 80-year-old. You can live 100 years, but still you're going to pass. Everybody's going to pass at the end, right? Nobody failed life. So just live life fully and then take chances. Because when we are young, we don't take enough chances. That's how I felt. Because even though I saw the opportunities, the challenges, but it took me a while to that churn, even if it's a challenge I was seeing as opportunity, but it was just going in circles, still we were figuring out the answer. But if you just let go and give yourself a chance to take this opportunity or turn this challenge into an opportunity, world is so beautiful. You're going to get there much faster.
And that is amazing, because in my mind, I'm tying all of this together. And it all started by you taking a risk of us reaching out to you. You have no idea who we are. We reach out to you. And now we have a couple conversations. We're having the show and sharing such a beautiful perspective that you have worked your whole life on nurturing this perspective. And now being able to share it because you're a teacher at heart. This is something that brings you joy. It's beautiful that everybody gets to experience this because you took the risk. So thank you so much for taking the risk and joining us on the show today, Vinki. It's been a lovely conversation. And to the listeners out there today, it's loombainvest.com. Go there, check out the portfolio. It's very remarkable. Connect with Vinki. She's amazing. My personal conversations with her, she's very genuine. So reach out, connect with her. If you have any interest in learning more about, starting that process of being a passive investor, learning more, staying close to the deals, and if, even journeying into the opportunities that may be GP or sponsor. Very interesting. But also, I just want to add on to what Vinki was saying about failure and taking more risk. It is a necessity in self-development. You've got to get out of these rings where you're comfortable. If you're comfortable, something's not right. There's going to be some of these moments where it's easy to not push yourself. But then if I'm not growing, what am I gaining? I'm always need to find these moments of uncomfortable or moments of not being comfortable, because that's where growth is. Growth is right on the other side of pain. And if you don't take that risk earlier, like Vinki was saying, we're not going to have that growth earlier. So don't hesitate. Don't hesitate to fail fast either. Just like Vinki says, nobody fails in life. And I hear it a lot too. It's like, we're not going to fail. I say I don't fail because I never stop trying. The pivot is really important. If I see this thing as a challenge, I can overcome it and it becomes an opportunity, even if I need to pivot just a little bit. It's so much easier when you have the right people around you, surrounded by love, surrounded by family, surrounded by people who are already doing what you want to do, and the people who have already become who you want to become. As that goal, your why is big enough to pull you through these challenges. Surround yourself with the people who have already done it before. It's an inflection point in life. Invest in yourself, take risks. Don't be comfortable all the time, but don't hesitate to bask in the moment and feel the love that's around you. It's the Real Estate Mogul MD.